Greetings, salutations, and welcome to After Action. I'm your host, Patrick Kreeger, and I'm joined by no one today, as I went and saw another musical. A Christmas themed musical this time, just in time for the Christmas season. Well, as is typical with the Watch Don't Watch, I don't know, guys. I'm on the fence here. I'm always one to support your local theater, and I do think that the cast and crew of this musical gave it their best. But in terms of the musical itself, so what I'm going to say here is do not take this review as a reflection of Musical Theater West or any of its cast and crew. Take this as a review of the musical itself, the writing of the music and the writing of the whole thing. I would say it's a pass, guys. If you need a Christmas themed thing to go and do with your family, I would still recommend going out and supporting the arts and going and seeing Elf in theaters. But man, there are so many better Christmas themed musicals out there. I actually can't even remember the musical that Musical Theater West did last year for their Christmas themed musical. I remember the sets and I remember the costumes and I remember the songs, and that particular play was fantastic. Oh, this is just so forgettable. So let's get into it a little bit. Elf, the musical, is kind of the opposite of most things. Typically, you will have a musical and it will be converted into a movie. However, this is a musical made from a movie. The movie came out in 2003, and I'm all sure you're familiar with the movie. However, I myself am not. I did not go and watch the movie, nor have I seen it since. But maybe that will be part of this 25 Days of Christmas review series. Oh, by the way, on that, starting probably even tomorrow, we are going to be working other Christmas content into this. I realized very late into this thing that I wanted my father to do a recording of the night before Christmas, the night before Christmas. So we are now just switching it to 25 Christmas themed things this month. So thank you for bearing with that. Back to the play. I can't tell you how terrible the music was. Again, it's nothing on the effects of the singers. It's nothing on the effect of the band, both of whom did a fantastic job. But the music they had to sing and play was very uninspired. It almost felt like the music you would see in the background of a better musical. Musical would probably be bad. A bad idea for that. What I mean is, like, if you were watching a Christmas themed movie, you would see this music, say, being played on the TV in the background of that movie. It was pretty awful. The plot itself is very basic. The concept, to me, wears off very quickly. I do not like fish out of water stories. It just makes everyone come off as cruel and or stupid. If you find this person who believes they're an elf, mind you, just so you know, the plot of this play and movie is that there is a human child who is raised as an elf in Santa's workshop and finds his way to New York to meet up with his remaining human family because, of course, he's an orphan. Anyway, so he believes he's an elf. And so most of the people around him treat him rather cruelly or treat him as if he were mentally disabled or insane. And he, of course, basically refuses to learn. I'm really sorry, most humans aren't that dumb. If you're put into a cultural situation where you're told, X, Y, or Z is inappropriate, 9 times out of 10, you're going to stop doing it, even if it's something very typical. A good example of this is if you go to an Asian restaurant. I'm sorry, I don't know what particular type of Asian food, but they have a whole thing about a specific Asian culture has a whole thing about not putting chopsticks in your food, like just leaving it in your food. And you're told once by the staff or your friends that that is inappropriate, and very quickly you just don't do it anymore. I mean, sure, you may carelessly forget from time to time, but at least for the next meal, you're quite hyper aware of that situation and refuse to do it. Buddy, our elf, has the tendency of never learning, as is typical with these fish out of water stories. Eventually, he kind of gets it a little bit, but I almost think that's the writers trying to make him less annoying and more sympathetic, because it's very hard to sympathize with him when, frankly, he comes off as a jerk to those around him, because, again, he refuses to learn. People don't act this way in real life. But anyway, the plot is just a plot to hang songs off of. And this particular play, again, has terrible songs. So not one of them is memorable. Most of them have to do with the plot of the show, which is good. You know, the music of the show should pertain to the plot of the show. But it's almost too on the nose. Like, it's almost like they're singing their lines. And I just find that annoying. The sets were fantastic, which is nice. And the costumes were all right. Again, the Musical Theater West had nothing to do with those, but the set was quite nice. I just want to really, really drive this home. The actors that Musical Theater West hired did a fantastic job, particularly the lady love of our elf. She did a fantastic job coming off as a realistic, for lack of a better term, lovable icicle. As in the sense of, she's cold but not evil. So, I don't know. They did a really good job. The child actors even did a really good job. So I just want to compliment all those. But again, the play itself, I don't know. Maybe I'm just from an older school of thought. I like my musicals to have songs that you can go home singing. None of these songs you're going to be putting on your Christmas playlist. Let's put it that way. So, if you're looking for something Christmassy to do with your family, it's not a bad thing to do. However, I do think there's better uses of your time. So, until next time, dear listener, see you out there.